Hello, music educators. My name is Darnella Davidson. I'm a high school band director here in Los Angeles, California. And I'm really happy to be able to join the CMA Foundation's Unified Voices for Music Education initiative. Yep, it's a long word, but it's a very powerful one. We have come together to design a lesson plan that I hope you will be able to enjoy. Here's how it works. Characteristic tone. It's such an important concept, and it's one in which we're all judged on, especially if you go into competition. So let's get the kids to understand why it's so important to develop an ear for what their instrument is supposed to sound like, so that they can develop a characteristic tone. So this assignment is going to be where the kids go out, look at YouTube, and find examples of people that play their particular instrument. And that way they're creating a sound library. It could be for the whole band eventually. And so then you've created this big library of sounds that demonstrates each particular instrument. How important is that? All right, so let's get started. So here's what we're going to do. As the band director or music teacher, you're going to first talk about why it's important to develop a characteristic tone in your head. What is it supposed to sound like to play a flute? What is it really supposed to sound like to play a tuba? All right? This assignment can be done in person, but I'm going to now describe it as if it were done online. So for us, we use Zoom. So any platform that you can use, go ahead and apply. All right? So here you are, you're with your kids on Zoom, and you talk about developing a characteristic tone. Then have the kids go into breakout rooms. Now, if you don't know how to do the breakout rooms, that's really a whole other tutorial, but one sample way of doing it is maybe if you have all the flutes together, you have the flutes rename themselves. You know, when you look at the video in the right-hand corner, there's a way to rename. So you can have all the flutes maybe put a 1 in front of their name. The way you format is really important because that will either help or not help you get into the breakout rooms. So let's say you put a 1 for all the flutes and a 2 for all the clarinets and so on. All right, you get them into your breakout rooms. Now when you get into the breakout rooms, have the section leaders divvy out assignments. That could be a way to do it, or depending on how large the group is. Maybe you have these few people. Look for people that play euphonium. All right, couple of people. You look for female euphonium players, and maybe you guys over here. You look for euphonium players of color. Why is that important? Well, this activity has a way of giving us lots of other opportunities. All right, so not only are we developing a sound base for knowing what our instrument sounds like, but it's also creating a chance for collaboration, to analyze our findings, to compare and contrast what we have found, collaboration, and what else is it? Problem solving. The problem is, let's find people that are male, female. Let's find people of color, because that's important. That's, giving us cultural diversity awareness, right? Because that's kind of the in thing right now. Everyone is important. So why don't we find examples of people of color? And also maybe we find people of different age groups, young, old. Maybe we find people that are alive. Maybe we find people, because there's some really fine, of course, musicians that have passed. Louis Armstrong, all right? Okay, so this has so many, oh my goodness, so many variations that we can make on this assignment. But again, have the section leader maybe either divvy out assignments. You have a group, depending on how large your sections are. Maybe you have these people look for these examples, and when they find the examples, maybe these group of people will design Google Slides so that they can put that link, because you want to find the link. You want to go on YouTube. They're going to go on YouTube and find links so that we can all go and find the YouTube examples. All right. So maybe you have a group of people that will put those links into a Google Doc with maybe a picture of the artist as well, and maybe even some of the biography on a slide. I mean, there's just so many variations to this assignment. Again, the object is to find three to five examples of people playing your particular instrument. Okay, now once you find that information, section leader again will be finding one person to be designated as the spokesperson, to be able to come back and share out to the rest of the band who you found to be interesting. Now, depending on the time value that you have, maybe you only select one person, but you will have a sound base of maybe 3 to 5 musicians to later reference later on. Once you have found your examples and you, as a section, have decided who will be in your selection and why, also give information about what that person, a little biography, and maybe a little bit of what the person is playing. Give us a title and, anything else that might be of importance. Once you have decided who your examples are, teacher will bring everybody back together. Now, this is an assignment that could take maybe a day, maybe 2 or 3 days. It just depends on how elaborate you want to do this. Maybe instead of 3 to 5 examples, maybe you just pick one for that day. Bring them all together. Bring everybody back into the main room. And then have each section spokesperson share out who they found and why did you guys decide on this particular person? What was the significance? Let's listen, and maybe, is there something in particular that you thought was really great about this music example? Maybe this person has a fabulous range, or maybe fabulous vibrato. Why should we listen to this person? What excited you about that person? Okay, so now we have already brought everybody back out of their breakout rooms, all right? And now we're sharing out the information, playing each link so we can hear the example of these fine musicians, so that, of course, it gives us a reference as to what a really fine saxophone sounds like, a really fine euphonium sounds like, and so on, all right? Now, at the very end of this, let's do a little written reflection. Maybe it's a 5-part essay. Maybe you have some kids that can't write a 5-part essay, and this gives them an opportunity to do so with about a topic that hopefully they can get into, right? They play this instrument. Let's get excited about it. Maybe 5 sentences is all that you need. Maybe, especially if a kid is having trouble writing, maybe they collaborate with somebody. Maybe the problem is translations. So maybe you find people that can translate and write. Maybe if a person can't write, maybe they vocalize everything. They put it in a recording and you upload it as a recording. You could even make this into a podcast, right? You could. How exciting is that? That's really cool. You could make this a podcast and again, a library of sounds. That's what you want to do, is create a library of sounds. So again, you find the musicians, present the musicians, and do a reflection at the end. Now, as a teacher, all of this can be put into a Google Doc, Google Slides, and used and referenced, and maybe during a rehearsal in October or something, you, just as a change of pace, you might want to bring back one of those samples, and so you will say, listen to this euphonium player, listen to this fine trumpet player. It offers lots of different opportunities for the future. Now, one more thing to think about. Let's say you've come together and you've created this wonderful library of sounds. What's to stop you from bringing this or sending this over to the middle school? Maybe you make this as an example for the flute players. Flute players, you're going to take these sounds and you're going to collaborate with the middle school flute players. and give them a sample of why you thought these were fine examples of musicians. There's just, again, a variety of ways you could create different tangents on this lesson. Well, I hope this was exciting for you as it was for us to create, and give it a try. I think you will enjoy it. I think the kids will get excited about it too. All right, have a wonderful season.